Don't forget, we did sit down with Andrew Boswell already this weekend for a deck tech, as he has been really beating the crap out of people this weekend with his Abzan aggro deck. So Nick Miller took some time in the sideboard, sit down with him and get an explanation from the player from Sugarloaf, New York, as he does take a mulligan. We'll have that for you guys at the end of the round. We also will have an exclusive spoiler for you from Dragonstar here at the conclusion of this round too.
A win here puts either player in a position to probably 2-2 and top 8, maybe even more flexibility than that. So this is a huge match. Grand Prix are so tough, man. Even when you're 11-0, it's not even like anything's happened just yet.
You still got work to do.
You probably locked up a cash. That's about all that's happened.
You've still got a lot of work to do. That much is to be sure. See Sam Black making it sweet here. 2 mulligans to 2 non-functional hands. I need to 4-0 to lock platinum. So don't know if we'll be seeing Sam in the elimination rounds this weekend. Though we do know he is in the draw bracket.
So X1-3, which is now Sam's record, is the equivalent of XN3.
Sure.
3 draws equals 2 losses.
It's a Sandstep Citadel to start here for Walter. Boswell draws a copy of Manic Influence. He'll play a Forest. That means a Warden of the First Tree's on the way. We'll head back Walter's way. Heroes Downfall the draw here for Royce. He'll play a Windswept Teeth. He'll play a Fleecemane Lion. I'll pass that turn back. A little bit different build of Abzan mid-range here for Royce.
Yeah, I mean, he's still going all the way up to, 3 copies of Elspeth in the main deck, 2 copies of Read the Bones, but Fleecemane Lion does speed up the curve and doesn't really interfere with end hostilities either, because you can go monstrous, and then we've seen that before.
Yeah, we certainly have. Boswell going to play Windswept Teeth here. His draw set for the turn was another copy of Warden of the First Tree. See his hand's a little bit clunky here. Has a Tassiger, Nissa as well. He's going to serve here with the Warden. Royce can't block fast enough, so Boswell's going to sacrifice the Windswept Teeth, get himself a Plains, activate the Warden, and make it into a 3-3. The 2 creatures will trade, and that'll be it for the Bos.
For Royce, this is an opportunity to keep his life total high, trade 1-for-1 against an opponent who's mulliganed, and absorb Andrew's second turn. From Andrew's side of the table, it's an opportunity to get Fleecemane Lion off before it becomes a bigger problem. Also, there's a second Warden in his hand, so now Bile-Blight is less of a concern.
Walter will draw a card. He'll play Llanowar Waste. He'll pass the turn back. Boswell will draw a copy of Llanowar Waste himself. He'll deploy that. It's time for another copy of Warden of the First Tree. Pass the turn back. You mentioned Bile-Blight. That'll very quickly take care of the Warden. Royce will have to take one to do it. That's just fine by him. So we go back Walter's way for turn number 4. And it looks like he has missed his 4th land. So Boswell will draw another copy of Nissa. Has the ability to cast Tassiger this turn if he'd like.
Playing Tassiger seems pretty sweet to me. As you've got nothing else going on, if it eats a Hero's Downfall, well, that's one less thing to interact with Nissa.
Yeah. Manic Influence is the land. Looks like Boswell's going to pay 4 mana for Tassiger here, which means he will delve away 2 cards.
I imagine just stripping out the Wardens. Oh, he wants to keep a Warden. Okay.
Leave 1 more in there, I suppose. Here's a Hero's Downfall to take care of this.
Doesn't really matter too much. There's almost no chance this Tassiger survives, but
Walter will draw. Is it land number 4? It is, and it's a temple which could potentially find land number 5. Take a look at the top card. He'll leave it on top. Pass the turn back to Boswell. Boswell will take a draw step here. Temple of Malady. He'll play Manic Influence. It's time for Nissa. And he'll be making a land of 4/4 elemental with trample here momentarily. Just has to figure out which one it's going to be. And he'll go with Manic Influence. Walter has another Hero's Downfall that he'll take 1 to cast. But Nissa's off the table. The card that Royce kept on top was Nobzon Charm. He'll deploy a Siege Rhino, and that'll brick wall that land.
Though Boswell not necessarily upset with that downfall, as he has another Nissa in hand and really nothing to do with it just yet.
Look at a pretty good draw there from the Boz. I believe it was a Valorous Stance. He'll start by playing a Temple. He'll scry here. That top card goes to the bottom very quickly. There is Valorous Stance, and here is an attack for 4. So gaining the initiative back, Walter's down to 15. Again, remember, Royce kept an Nobzon Charm on top of his deck, but he has drawn land number 5. That was a Plains. Now I'll have to examine some things.
Lands are really critical, obviously, and if Royce can just keep his head above water, the Elspeth at his hand will sweep up all the damage dealt by the Nissas.
Another Siege Rhino here. Boswell's draw step right now, very important. Has a Nissa in his hand, picked up a copy of Windswept Heath. Not the best draw in the world.
Yeah, Andrew's in this weird spot where deploying the Nissa is of dubious value because it plays into things like Downfall right now, into things like Elspeth, but there's also, you know, he's behind 18 to 10 on damage. He's behind on the board right now. He's playing against someone with a lot of cards in their hand who's trying to make some land drops, so he may not have a choice but to have to cast this Nissa.
I'm playing Windswept Heath. You saw him move it forward as though that was the land that he was going to make a 4/4, but he's going to sacrifice this and go down to 9. Going to grab a Plains. Wouldn't be surprised to see him play a Nissa and make a Manic Influence into a 4/4.
Yeah, I mean, this is not a great spot for Boswell to be in, but his hand doesn't really afford him the option to do anything else.
The first Rhino was tough, but he drew a removal spell for that. The second Rhino is looking to be a backbreaker, as it oftentimes is. Walter's going to untap his 4 lands. He'll take a draw step here. Royce does have Elspeth in hand, as you did mention. The minus ability of that can blow up everything. It would leave a Nissa behind, however. Now Walter's going to examine the board. He's going to attack here with Siege Rhino. It's a double block. This is an Nobzon Charm. And that's a Bile Blight, and that's a backbreaker. Because now Boswell loses everything.
Yeah, that was the cost of Mana Confluence being the other land that got activated.
Yep.
Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that much because I don't know how much Boswell can play around stuff at this point. That sequence blows him out, I think, no matter how he sets it up, but it didn't look good, that's for sure.
Is it a removal speller for Boswell? He's at 1. It's a Windswept Heath, and that's going to get the job done here for Royce Walter, who will win this match over Andrew Boswell, 2-1. Abzan mid-range will take care of Abzan aggro. Walter is our lone undefeated player. I guess it's a good thing. And whatever airline lost his bags did so. He's 11-0.
And we've been actually pretty light on the Abzan mid-range decks on camera, I would say, on the balance, but